God says the weight on your heart has been growing quietly, slowly, like a shadow that follows you even when you pretend you don't see it. You felt something was off, something was hidden beneath the surface, something he wasn't telling you. You tried to silence it. You tried to pray it away. You tried to convince yourself it was just overthinking, just insecurity, just fear. But deep down, you've always known that your spirit was picking up what your mind tried to ignore. You didn't imagine it. You didn't create it. You didn't misread the signs. God has been showing you the truth in pieces, and now He is preparing to reveal the full picture, because the season of half-truths is ending. You've carried more than you were meant to carry. You've cried tears that no one saw, tears that didn't fall because of weakness but because of the strength you kept giving to the wrong place. You poured your heart into someone who didn't give you the honesty your soul deserved. You accepted explanations that didn't add up. You accepted apologies that didn't bring change. You accepted silence when you needed clarity. And you told yourself it's fine, maybe things will get better, maybe he just needs time, maybe love will fix what is broken. But God is whispering to you now, you were never meant to build a future on top of buried lies. He's hiding more than he wants you to know. He's hiding doubts he hasn't spoken. He's hiding feelings he hasn't acknowledged. He's hiding a double mind that you have sensed in his inconsistencies. His actions don't align with the affection he shows in certain moments. His presence feels different from his promises. His intentions don't match the energy you pour in. And while he thinks he can keep this concealed, while he thinks his charm can cover up the reality, while he thinks you'll stay quiet because you love him, he forgets something crucial. God sees what the human eye cannot. God is not exposing this to hurt you. He's exposing this to protect you. You've been loyal to someone who hasn't given you the full truth. You've been faithful to someone who has kept parts of his heart unavailable. You've been patient with someone who wasn't being transparent. That's why your spirit feels unsettled. That's why your peace feels interrupted. That's why your intuition has been louder lately. God is aligning things to show you what your heart has been afraid to confront. You didn't miss the signs. You didn't misunderstand them. You didn't exaggerate them. You discerned what he tried to hide. And God is about to confirm it in a way that leaves no confusion, no doubt, no uncertainty. This is the moment where God stops the cycle. This is the moment where the truth that was kept from you becomes the truth that sets you free. You've stayed gentle when he was being distant. You stayed understanding when he was being unclear. You stayed committed while he remained undecided. You held on to hope even when his actions didn't match his words. But God is stepping in because your heart has reached a point where holding on is costing you more than letting go. Holding on is draining your spirit. Holding on is delaying your growth. Holding on is keeping you in a place where you're waiting for someone who keeps you in the dark, God sees the conversations he has behind closed doors. God sees the emotions he hides from you. God sees the confusion inside him that he refuses to admit. God sees the intentions he hasn't been honest about. And God sees the way you've been trying, truly trying, to make things work even though you feel like you're walking with one foot on solid ground and the other on uncertainty. This is why God is exposing it, because deception, even when small, is still deception. Silence, when used to hide the truth, is still dishonesty. Mixed signals, when intentional, are still manipulation. You don't deserve to walk in emotional fog. You don't deserve to guess how someone feels. You don't deserve to piece together the truth from half-answered questions. You don't deserve confusion disguised as affection. You deserve clarity, consistency, truth, transparency, and reciprocity. And God is preparing to bring you exactly that, even if it means removing someone who is not aligned with your destiny. The exposure won't come to break you. It will come to free you. It will open your eyes to what you were never meant to settle for. It will show you why things felt heavy. It will explain the spiritual tension you couldn't quite name. It will reveal why you didn't feel secure even when he said you should trust him. God is shining light into places that have been hidden too long, and when the truth comes out, and it will, you will finally understand why God delayed certain things. Why he blocked certain moves. Why he made your spirit uncomfortable. Why he kept giving you signs that didn't make sense until now. God has been protecting you from giving your whole heart to someone who hasn't been giving you the whole truth. What's coming next is divine clarity. A moment where everything aligns. A moment where the truth that was concealed becomes impossible to ignore. A moment where God shows you exactly what needs to be removed so he can bring in what is meant for you. You will step into a season where peace replaces confusion, where truth replaces guessing, where love replaces emotional imbalance, and when you finally see what God is exposing, you won't be angry, you'll be relieved. You'll be grateful. You'll understand that God wasn't punishing you, he was protecting you from heartbreak you never deserved. You've been carrying questions in your heart that you never spoke out loud. Questions that sat heavy on your spirit because you didn't want to seem doubtful, insecure, or overly sensitive. You didn't want to break the peace. You didn't want to push him away. So you swallowed your concerns, silenced your intuition, and hoped that love would eventually reveal whatever your spirit kept sensing. But God is saying now, you should never have to quiet your spirit to keep someone close. When someone is right for you, peace is loud, not silent. Clarity flows naturally. Truth doesn't hide. Love doesn't confuse. The uneasiness you felt is not random. It's spiritual. It's God's alert system, showing you that something about his heart, his intentions, or his actions hasn't been fully aligned. You felt the distance even when he was physically present. You've sensed the shift in energy even when he said nothing had changed. You've noticed the hesitation in his voice, the inconsistency in his affection, the way his attention comes and goes like a light switch. These aren't coincidences. These are signs that your soul recognized before your mind could process the reason behind them. He's been hiding something, not necessarily something dramatic or scandalous, but something that matters, something that affects you, something that affects your future. Maybe it's uncertainty about commitment. Maybe it's feelings he hasn't resolved. Maybe it's someone he hasn't fully let go of. Maybe it's fears he won't confront. Maybe it's expectations he's not ready to meet. Whatever it is, God is ready to bring it to the surface because He doesn't want you building your life around confusion. You've tried to give Him grace. You've tried to be patient, understanding, and supportive. You've tried to focus on the potential you saw in Him, the goodness He occasionally showed, the promises He made on His better days. But God sees the whole heart, not the moments of affection, not the fragments of sincerity, not the sweet words spoken in passing. God sees the truth beneath the surface. God sees the parts He keeps guarded. God sees the intentions behind the actions. And when something or someone is disrupting your emotional peace, God intervenes. The reason you haven't been able to shake the feeling that something is not right is because your spirit is tied to a truth that hasn't been revealed yet. God has been preparing you emotionally for the moment of exposure. He's been strengthening you without you realizing it. The tears you cried alone weren't wasted, they were clearing your vision. The questions you held inside weren't ignored by heaven, they were the prayers God was answering behind the scenes. The heaviness on your heart wasn't weakness, it was the weight of revelation preparing to break open. There will come a moment, very soon, when the truth aligns with your intuition. When the hidden becomes visible. When the silence breaks. When the sign becomes undeniable. When everything you felt but couldn't explain finally makes sense. And in that moment, you will understand why God delayed certain answers, why He closed certain doors, why your heart couldn't fully rest even when you tried. You're not losing Him, you're gaining the truth. You're gaining clarity. You're gaining the kind of spiritual awareness that frees you from emotional dependence on someone who hasn't been fully honest. God isn't punishing him or you. God is allowing the truth to rise to the surface so that clarity can guide your next steps. Not confusion, there is a version of you that God is leading you into, a stronger, wiser, more grounded version. A version that doesn't settle for half-love or half-truths. A version that knows your worth, not from what someone says, but from what God affirms. A version that recognizes that love should feel like peace, not tension disguised as effort. You don't have to chase clarity anymore. You don't have to decode mixed signals anymore. You don't have to guess where you stand anymore. The truth is coming, and it's coming in a way that will free you, not frighten you. God is about to expose whatever has been hidden so that you can rise into the next season with a heart that is whole, not burdened, and when the exposure comes, it won't break you. It will build you. It will protect you from the heartbreak you were walking toward without realizing it. It will remind you that God loves you too much to let you stay blinded by hope. God loves you too much to let you settle for someone who cannot love you with the same honesty and depth you give. When the truth finally appears, you will feel a release inside you, a breath you didn't know you were holding. You will realize that the heaviness was never yours to carry. That the emotional imbalance wasn't your fault. That the confusion was a signal, not a flaw. God was speaking to you through your intuition, and now He's ready to turn that quiet whisper into a clear revelation. There comes a moment in every spiritually guided journey when God stops letting you guess, stops letting you hope blindly, and stops letting you carry what was never meant for your heart. That moment is approaching for you now. The truth that has been hidden is rising like the sun, quietly at first, then unmistakably. God does not expose to embarrass, punish, or destroy. God exposes to free, redirect, protect, and prepare you for the love, clarity, and commitment you deserve. You've given your heart with sincerity. You've loved with patience. You've shown loyalty even in uncertainty. But now God is calling you into a season where your love must be received with the same honesty you offer. The imbalance you've been feeling wasn't your imagination, it was heaven's warning. The disappointment you felt before anything was revealed wasn't overreaction, it was preparation. The shift in energy you sensed wasn't emotional instability, it was spiritual sensitivity. God has been whispering, and now He is about to speak louder. The exposure will not be loud or dramatic, but it will be clear. It may come through a conversation, a sudden change, a moment of honesty, or something you unexpectedly discover. It may come through silence that finally reveals the truth. It may come through a choice He makes that exposes the intention behind His actions. However it arrives, you'll feel it deep in your spirit, not as shock, but as confirmation. Not as heartbreak, but as release. Not as fear, but as understanding, and in that moment, something inside you will shift permanently. You'll realize that you didn't lose anything, you were saved from something. Saved from emotional inconsistency. Saved from unspoken hesitation. Saved from a future built on unstable ground. Saved from giving more than someone was willing or able to return. God is not removing him to hurt you, He is removing what blocks your peace, your growth, and your destiny. After the exposure, you will feel lighter in ways you didn't expect. The confusion that once tangled your thoughts will fall silent. The emotional tension that wore down your heart will dissolve. The tears you cried in private will turn into strength you didn't know you were forming. You will rediscover parts of yourself that were dimmed by uncertainty, your joy, your clarity, your intuition, your self-worth, and then, something beautiful begins. God will guide you into a season where love aligns with truth, where affection aligns with intention, where words align with actions, where your heart is honored, not tested, where your spirit is at peace, not battling for clarity, where the person meant for you doesn't hide, doesn't hesitate, doesn't confuse, doesn't leave you guessing. The person God prepares for you will not be intimidated by your strength or your sensitivity. They will recognize the value of your heart and protect it, not manipulate it. They will meet you with honesty, not hidden truths, but before God gives you what is yours, He removes what is not. This exposure is not the end, it is the doorway. The doorway to a higher level of self-respect. The doorway to emotional maturity. The doorway to love that flows without fear. The doorway to the next chapter where you no longer shrink yourself to keep someone close. Where you no longer silence your intuition to maintain the illusion of peace. Where you no longer accept the bare minimum because of hope disguised as patience. God is lifting you out of the shadows of uncertainty and placing you into the light of truth. Every part of you, your heart, your mind, your spirit, is being prepared for a love story that is not built on secrets, but on clarity. Not on pretending, but on presence. Not on confusion, but on connection. Not on fear, but on faith, and when you look back on this moment, you will understand that God exposed it because He heard the prayers you prayed through your tears. He saw the nights you stayed up questioning your worth. He counted every moment you tried to be strong for someone who wasn't strong for you. God stepped in because He knew you deserved more, not someday, but now. Walk forward with confidence. The truth is not your enemy. The revelation is not your punishment. This exposure is your protection, your redirection, and your elevation. What God is revealing will set you free, and what God brings next will make you grateful that the truth came when it did. You are stepping into a season where your heart is safe, your spirit is grounded, and your path is clear. What is meant for you will not hide from you. And what is not meant for you cannot stay hidden any longer.